Just all day
Alright,
tongue in the mic.
Hi, we are back.
Oh, hi.
You're talking about tongue and stuff.
Tongue and mics.
No,
Yeah, I was talking about the old Caleb who used to tongue mics with
we did
me.
not. We did not do that.
They don't know that.
We are here with more Tasha's. I'm keeping
Tasha!
close because
Tasha.
Caleb isn't 100% right now,
Tasha.
but that's okay. I can pretend.
Exactly. That's the part that matters. How hard can you pretend?
Got my tea
Yeah, there you go.
and my water.
Tea and water, brother.
Because Caleb's allergies have been acting up.
Yeah, bro.
So the red eyes isn't. I'm not high or anything.
Wow, they definitely weren't thinking that. Now they're like, he must be. That's what a high person would say.
When I looked at the mirror yesterday when I was like first going through, I'm just like, dude, I look still out my fucking.
Yeah, you did. I was like, oh, damn, Caleb, there you go.
Nah, my allergies act up so hard.
And I was like,
they're still there, but you know, I'd rather be doing something that makes me happy.
Nuh-uh.
Or at least moving my brain sort of.
Move your brain.
Sitting down. Well, we're sitting down, but like feeling like I'm doing something because I already have a feeling I know how today's gonna go. But we'll see. All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue on with classes. We're gonna go ahead and start off with sorcerer because I think the last thing we did was rogue, if I remember looking at the things.
Le rogue.
So we will be looking at the optional class features. Alright, for sorcerer, you gain these additional stuff. You get more sorcerer spells, including Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, Lightning Lure, Mind Silver, Sword Burst as cantrips. First level, you get Grease, one of the new Tasha spells, which we'll probably get into today. Flame Blade, Flaming Sphere.
No, Grease is. Tasha's Cusper? Grease is already a thing.
No, one of Tasha's new spells was the Cosmic.
Oh, okay.
Cosmic Bird. I just didn't say the name. Magic Weapon, which I feel like should have been a sorcerer spell. It sounds like one.
Well, it looks like they're more trying to gear them towards multi-classing. Like having more multi-class options. So if you go this plus, Path of the Warlock.
You can do more stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of just feeling limited like always.
Because if you just took this on a regular sorcerer, you're kind of trying to kill yourself because a d6 hit dice trying to go up close. I mean, with the d6 hit dice, trying to be an upfront fighter is not the smartest thing. So I'm assuming it's just for multi-classing purposes.
I mean, I'm sure you a big boy can figure out what to do with that. There's interesting ways to do it. You're not wrong though. Being up close as a sorcerer is a very silly idea.
It's the same thing as being a wizard and being up close.
Exactly. Another one of Natasha's spells that we will be going over later. Intellect Fortress, which is another one. Vampire Touch. Fire Shield, Bigsby's Hand.
Bigsby's Hand.
Flesh to Stone. Ultimate's Freezing Spear. Tasha's Otherworldly Guise. Dream of the Blue Veil. And 8th level Demi-Plane. And 9th level Blade of Disaster, which is a new spell.
Thick spell.
They get a lot of the new spells, which would make sense. New meta magic options, which is the sorcerer's bread and butter.
He looking fun.
Seeking spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new roll. You can use Seeking Spell even if you have already used a different meta magic option during the casting of the spell.
Oh my god, okay, so that, once again, it breaks the ruling for every other one, and it makes them feel sad because every other sorcery spell, so say for instance you want to twin spell and also heighten the spell, you can't do that.
Nope.
Because with every meta magic option, you cannot use 2 different meta magics in this one go. But Tasha breaks that.
Yeah, which could be good, could be bad. It's debatable. I don't think, in Caleb's opinion, it's definitely one of those things that makes Sorcerer not the most picked class because just not the strongest. I'm not to say that
It's fairly versatile, though. That's one thing.
I love Sorcerer personally. I really do love this as a class idea. Being born with magic is just cool. It's just already a cool concept, and
you could be pumped with magic.
True, but like that's just the base concept.
Yeah.
There's many different ways you can make a sorcerer happen, but the idea behind it, just having the magic come within you, is already a cool idea. It's just it feels like when you do play it, every other class outshines you, including Bard at times. I think Bard and Sorcerer are pretty much near the same level.
I mean, that depends on what you want out of the game. Because if you're playing Sorcerer, you're damage up at the ass.
Yeah.
If you're playing a Bard, you're more support face than anything. I mean, Sorcerer has the ability to be a face as well as damage output.
It's when we're talking about from game perspective. Now, we're not talking about role play. When we're talking about role play character stuff, of course, that's all up to your party and how you play the character and the way that the game goes. We're taking those out of the equation and talking about the spells and the way the class goes in general. I just think, let's just say you have a wizard in the party and you have a sorcerer. Yes, sorcerers will be doing stuff better around the first 3 levels, for sure. But then after that, wizard just outscales and outshines it in so many different directions.
Yeah, you start off. You scale from like strong early, weak late. So you mostly you're good at surviving.
Exactly, which is a good thing in Dungeons and Dragons. If you want your character to survive, Sorcerer is a good early game option, personally.
Just of course with every spellcaster, you just have crap spell slots at the beginning. But that's the caveat of having them do massive damage.
Yep. And they a D6 hit point die. D6.
Yeah, D6.
It's already like, ugh. It's rough. It's just rough being spellcaster.
And without having the option of shield.
Yeah, I know. Oh, do they have the option of shield?
Do they?
Yeah. I believe they do.
I don't believe so.
I mean, it's what he's looking up now.
Yep.
So
I'm just to confirm, on my brain 6.
I understood. I just believe they do. Go down. They do have shield.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they do technically have the option to do that, but regardless, level 1's always the most fun for most parties. Always depends on the party. Some people are just like, oh, this sucks, I'm not powerful. But for me personally, I love level 1 because it's just a raw example of how vulnerable you are in Dungeons and Dragons when you first start off and how your character builds up. One
goblin can one-shot a character.
Right. And oh my god, my character did all this stuff and now it's we went through this whole entire journey and now look at what my character's doing. It wasn't maybe like 10 sessions ago where I was getting destroyed by a hobgoblin who just happened to get a lucky hit on me because I didn't know how to use my magic, or I didn't know how to do this, or I didn't know how to do that, or we're just babies and we don't understand what we're doing. I just love level 1 and the idea behind it. A lot of people don't, just a personal preference. Getting back into Sorcerer stuff, let's look at the Sorcerer Versatility, which is another Sorcerer feat. Wait, no, Transmuted spell. Transmuted spell. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 to change that type. It's great. Alright, this is fantastic. It is one of the most flavorful options you can give your Sorcerer. Transmuted spell. If you want to, this is more for flavor, but also if you're finding something that is resistant to fire and you want to still cast that fireball.
This is probably one of their most versatile ones.
I think
literally
this is one of those must-haves.
And if you take this with Elemental Adapter, then you're just kind of a wrecking ball.
Mm-hmm. Let's say that you're trying to you still want to play that cold type character in the Icewind Dale setting. You can go and you want to play a sorcerer. oh man, so many things are going to have cold resistant damage. What am I going to do? Go transmuted spell. Take those cold spells and transmute them into other stuff. Or take that elemental adept, still do that cold spell, and throw that cold ball at that Yeti and still do the damage that you want to do. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's such a really cool idea. I think that this gives so much more options to a spellcaster that there wasn't one. And this gives more people reason to potentially take a sorcerer and let's try Snowball Swarm, but instead of that Snowball Swarm, it's
Firestorm.
It's a Firestorm.
A Thunderstorm.
Or a Thunderstorm, or a Poison Storm. Imagine it just turning into Acid Rain, dude. That's such a cool idea.
Acid Rain.
Instead of it being a swarm, it's just a swarm of acid, which is cool.
Then once again, like, depending on your DM, once again, because this can open up windows for, like, so many different interpretations of spells. Because, I mean, imagine using, create water. Now, DM, can I create a lake of fire? Can I create a lake of acid, a lake of thunder? Can I now change those different spells as well?
I think, yeah, it's just so cool. And then your DM starts, let's just say, it depends on DM. Personally, if that question was asked towards me, and I had to think about that, I would be like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool. I probably would just, depending on the scenario, and depending on what is being thrown in my direction, I would probably just allow it and just probably flavor it to make sense. So other than that, I'm already seeing every single fireball being transmuted into something else when they pick this. I think if you're looking for flavor, and I think if you're looking for versatility to create a potentially different and unique spellcaster, when you're playing the Sorcerer Transmuted spell is probably a must-have.
Hell yeah.
It's great. Now we're off to the Sorcerer Versatility. Whenever you reach a level in this class that grants the ability score improvement, you can do one of the following. You can replace one of the options you choose from the Magic options or the Magic feature. Basically, you can swap in, swap out. Or replace one cantrip you learned from this class spell feature with another cantrip from the Sorcerer spell.
Booyakasha, more versatility.
Absolutely. I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. Also, they get magical guidance potential.
Guidance?
Remember, these are optional class features for you. You don't have to do that. Talk to your DM, and if they allow it, please use it. Most of these are just improving the classes themselves. And I know I've seen specifically like certain DMs. I've tried different things as far as implementing them, like having their characters work for them, as in like having like almost a Rocky Balboa moment, where they're like having to do like a training session of trying stuff to make the story and role playing make sense for
experimentation in order to achieve something.
Exactly, and I think talking to the DM, you can find unique ways of potentially adding this, or if your DM doesn't allow it. But just remember to talk to them before you, or just like, I'm going to add this on there and throw it randomly at them. Magical guidance. You can tap into your inner wellspring of magic to try to conjure success from failure. When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend one sorcery point to re-roll a d20. And you must use the new roll, potentially turning the failure into a success. That's really cool. And it also makes Sorcerer feel more like every other class that pretty much every other class has a feature kind of like this, or at least I think more like Rogue. I always
fighter can reroll a saving throw that they failed.
Oh, I'm thinking feats here. Never mind. This brings some uniqueness if you decide to use it. Like I said, especially with an ability like this, talk to a DM. Because, I can do magical guidance via Tasha. We're not using Tasha's rules. Oh. No, I'm sorry.
Me no play.
Try not to...
Me no play.
Try to avoid that moment between you and your DM.
I mean, most DMs just usually tell players what books are allowed and what books aren't allowed. And
exactly.
That's just where you should go from
a human perspective.
Exactly. It enables them to understand which books they can't use instead of, trying to finick something in that you don't want. Because you, as a DM, are allowed to say which books are acceptable.
Exactly.
Some DMs don't like all the books, and some DMs don't even have all the books. They've never read it, so they don't want to try to have to understand a completely different, area. They stick to their guns, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's all up to whoever is running the game. Aberrant Mind Sorcerers. These are the second type sorcerers that have been introduced in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Tentacles, psychic powers, beings from beyond the stars. One person's bad dreams, another person's good time. An alien influence has wrapped its tendrils around your mind, giving you psionic powers. You can now touch other minds with that power and alter the world around you by using it to control the magical energy to the multiverse. Will this power shine from you as a helpful beacon to others, or will you be a source of terror to those who feel the stab of your mind and witness the strange manifestations of your might? As an aberrant mind sorcerer, you decide how you acquired your powers. Were you born with them, or did an event later in life leave you shining with psionic awareness? Consult the origins table or make one up for yourself.
Once again, this, like I was talking about, sometimes you're not born with these powers and you just have them
exactly
afterwards. What they're basically talking about is did a freaking mind flayer just experiment on you?
There's so many different ways you can take sorcerers. I think sorcerer is probably the most versatile way of coming up with a magic type character.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing as warlock. Wizards is to the point, right? I learned it. How'd you learn it? Can be unique and that kind of stuff, but I read a book or I learned these spells. It doesn't have to be a book, but that's wizard. I learned it and I practiced it. Sorcerer and warlock, they have the options of basically
they acquire it from other means.
Any way, anyhow. They could have picked up a book and learned it for all we know.
I mean, that's like what one of Chris's character did. He read one of the books of the Yellow King, and bam.
Warlock, baby. You can use it any way possible. It's all up to your imagination. We will not be going over the origins themselves because it's not necessary. It's all up to you. If you wish to look at them, they are on the screen and you can pause it at your whim. We'll go to the psionic spells now. The psionic, the additional features that you get and are automatically prepared without you even having to look at your stuff. Being a psionic sorcerer, you have Arms of Hadar. Already really looking good. Dissident Whispers and Mind Sliver.
I like that addition of giving it a cantrip.
Yeah.
I mean,
it just makes sense for them to have Mind Sliver without even having to worry about the additional cantrips added. Calm Emotions and Detect Thoughts. Calm Emotions is really interesting for me. I love that. To be just poking their brain to just kind of be like, what will calm them down? Hunger of Hadar, which is a warlock spell, which is
Hungry of Hadar.
Accessed through the psionic spells.
Hungry.
Sending, which is the best spell in the game.
Oh.
Fight me! Avard's Black Tentacles. And Summon Aberration, which Summon Aberration is one of the new summon spells. Worry's Telepathic Bond and Telekinesis. All great spells. Looking at the spell list, there isn't one that I'm just like, maybe the Hadar spells, because they're really not that great to begin with. But used in the right circumstance.
It's thematic for the fact that a mind flayer most likely thought to do type thing.
It's definitely thematic.
It's aberration.
But if we're looking for the spells for what they are, I think those are the only ones that kind of are a bit lackluster. But they are useful in the right scenario. They're very circumstantial spells. There are warlock spells, and warlock spells are very situational.
Yeah.
One of those classes, man. Telepathic speech. You can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of another. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You and the chosen creatures can speak telepathically with each other, while the two of you are within a number of miles, each other equal to your charisma modifier. To understand each other, you each must speak mentally in a language the other knows. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your sorcerer level. It ends early if you are incapacitated or die, or if you use the ability to form a connection with a different creature. This is a first level ability, which means if you multi-class into sorcerer, you get this. And if you just want to get one, you can literally just get telepathy with just one level. Pretty much. It's not like as good as the telepathic feat, which we will get into later, but it's a way to have telepathic talk.
You can talk for miles. That's pretty...
It lasts for a minute, though, if you're doing it for that. But a minute can be a long time. And D&D combat, if we're talking about combat stuff.
Yeah, but that's miles, though.
Yeah,
Miles is pretty good.
5 miles is pretty good. Here you go, 5 under charisma. Psionic Sorcery, which is the 6th level Apparent Mind feature. When you cast any spell at 1st level or higher from your Psionic spell feature, you can cast it by expending a spell slot as normal, or by spending a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level. If you cast a spell using sorcery points, it requires no verbal or somatic components, and it requires no material components unless they are consumed by a spell. Wow, isn't that great?
So you literally get brain blast.
You literally don't have to... It's one of those things where the creature, the ogre has grappled you. You don't have access to the ability to move your fingers, talk, or use what is necessary to use a spell.
It's literally your brain.
You use your brain.
Use your brain.
And that is an easy way out of the classic the spellcaster can't do shit right now scenario. That's great.
Nandi?
Psychic defenses. You gain resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws against charmed or frightened. That just made sense. Revelation in flesh. You can unleash the aberrant truth hidden within yourself. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 or more sorcery points to magically transform your body for 10 minutes. For each sorcery point you spend, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. One of them. That's what it says. So you can choose one of these things.
Only one.
You can see an invisible creature within 60 feet of you, provided it isn't behind total cover. Your eyes also turn black or become writhing sensory tendrils. Ugh, tentacle eyes. You gain a flying speed equal to your walking speed, and you can hover. As you fly, your skin glistens with mucus or shines with an otherworldly light. That's really cool. You gain a swimming speed equal to twice your walking speed, and you can breathe underwater. Moreover, gills grow from your neck or fan out from behind your ears. Your fingers become webbed or grow writhing cilia that extends through your clothing. They're basically giving you options, potential flavor options of how this happens.
Yeah, this way if you're not, the most creative, you're just like, I just use this one.
Yep. Your body, along with any equipment you are wearing, becomes slimy and pilable. You can move through any space as narrow as 1 inch without squeeze.
We become an ooze.
And you can spend 5 feet of movement to escape from non-magical restraints or being grappled.
You get out of jail free card.
Yeah. Creatures can do that. So why not you?
Exactly.
Really great. I don't see any of these being bad. The invisible creature one, very situational, but all of these are situational. So I think this gives a lot of different options to scenarios. Let's say, okay, we're now abandoned, we're in a pirate ship. Oh no, we have to swim. You're the only one who doesn't know how to swim. Or I don't know I'm slow, or some stupid shit like that.
And some stupid shit.
You can use the swimming option, or you can just use the flying option. Just hover above the water, which could be dangerous, but.
But essentially speaking, I mean, I didn't realize that the wording that they used for each sorcery point you spend, you gain one of the following. So you could literally do all of them.
Yeah.
You just need to spend 4 to get every single one of them, which is actually pretty boss.
It's terrifying.
So you'd be flying, seeing invisible creatures, swimming, and being able to squeeze. That's actually pretty strong.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I didn't realize that part.
No, yeah, you could totally do that.
All of them.
I was just giving single options, but yeah. This is definitely a very strong. This is a very strong one. From the kind of the psionic options that we have been seeing through these subclasses, this is probably my favorite, if I'm being honest. Warping Implosion is your final aberrant mind feature. You can unleash your aberrant power as a space warping anomaly. As an action, you can teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 120 feet of you. Immediately after you disappear, each creature within 30 feet of the space you left must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 3d10 force damage and is pulled straight toward the space you left. Ending in an unoccupied space as close to your former space as possible. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and it is not pulled. Okay, so it's just another way to just kind of, I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around.
I mean, for the most part, what they did back then for all of for like basically all of them, right? So when they first did the Unearthed Arcana, they were experimenting with, you can teleport all of your friends and you do damage in this space. And that was for like most of them. That was their level capability. And they just kept like rinse and repeating that for like just about every one of the subclasses that they made.
Right.
And so I guess this is kind of like a leftover from it that they used. I mean,
it's okay.
Not being able to bring your friends kind of
blows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because chances are, I mean, your friends are probably going to be in that space.
This is definitely an iffy thing for me. I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest.
I mean, it's only 3d10, like what? Because one of the, there's a warlock feature that gives you something similar to that, where you literally throw someone into the hellspawns of the, like, the Avernus, essentially speaking.
Which is cool.
And then they come back, like, with, like, basically a horrifying vision, and they get damaged. Like, it's only one creature, and this targets creatures within 30 feet of you, but, I don't know, it just seems weird.
It's just definitely, looking at the subclass itself, everything fits. Everything seems to fit. And don't get me wrong, dragging people with your mind is a cool idea, right? But it just doesn't feel like, if it does not necessarily fits. It just doesn't feel like the satisfaction is there. Maybe we have to play it and see it in action to see if it's good or not. A lot of these are going to be the case. But just looking at it from the wording wise and just the fanatic wise, are the word choices, it just doesn't seem that strong.
Because this seems more like a gravitation, like, Matt Mercer's gravitation thing, more than anything. Because this is what a gravity creature would do, a gravity-based thing. The warping implosion, so like, I don't feel exactly like that's a
mind thing. But it's all up to interpretation.
I don't think it's really like an aberration thing, really.
I still feel like this is my favorite as far as the aberrant subclasses go that we've done. The rogue one was very, very lackluster. We weren't the biggest fan of the rogue option. From what we've seen of it, we haven't, like I said, it's going to be exciting to see these in action and see people play these, but we haven't seen it yet, so
I mean, they didn't bring over the aberrant warlock in this one. They kind of just used the Fathom and kind of replaced the Fathom with that, and just said, yeah, that's the Fathom. It was kind of like the same thing, but I guess the Aberrant thought process was a little bit too wild to give to most PCs, essentially speaking.
Well, it's a cool idea.
Because it's basically turning you into a monster once you hit, level 14.
More like a tragic story, but it could not be. Who knows? Also, all depends on the campaign you play. Clockwork Soul is the next one. Do you want to take this one?
I rarely tell people I speak Mordron because, invulnerably, they just want to learn how to curse. So, let's get this out of the way. Lesson 1, beep boop, and other slams. I don't understand that. I'm not gonna try.
I don't. There's some of these things we're just not.
I'm not gonna try.
Understand.
That could be an inside joke. Who knows?
It is definitely an inside joke. You just don't get it.
Yeah. The cosmic force of order has suffused you with magic. The power arises from Mechanus or a realm like it, a plane of existence shaped entirely by clockwork efficiency. You or someone from your lineage might have entangled with the machinations of Modrons, having sex with them in the butt. The orderly beings who inhabit Mechanus. Perhaps your ancestors even took part in a great Mordron march, the GMM. Whatever its origin within you, the power of the Order seems strange to others, but for you, it is the vast and glorious system. For people who do not know what Mordrons are, they are essentially speaking, if something in the world is incorrect, they are tasked to put everything back into order. So if a DM is usually messing with timeline, jumping and whatnot, essentially speaking, what the DM could do is then insert these Mordrons, which literally follow a tier system on, I give the command to the lesser peon, and then I give a command to this one, a command to that one, and it's just a hierarchy that just trickles all the way down to the Great Mordron, who controls all other Mordrons, to tell that Mordron to do this, to that Mordron to do that, and so on and so forth.
I'm learning that just now.
That's Mordrons are very...
That's weird.
Integral creatures, very interesting ones that no one really plays around with. But
useful.
you can make a whole campaign based around it. Just Mordrons only.
Dude, there's so many things you can make a based off.
Yeah. Alrighty, for the Clockwork magic, you get some nice, good spells. You get Alarm, protection from good and evil, Aid, Lesser Restoration, Dispel magic, protection from energy, freedom of movement, Summon construct, Gate Restoration, and Wall of Force. So essentially speaking, it's like they give you kind of like balancing out type of, spells. Alarm, I guess, is thematic in the sense that, clockworks usually have alarms because they go off, but and whatnot.
Protection from good and evil is a very choosy one. It's very... I guess if you're talking... The only thing I can think of when thinking of something like that is, what's that Marvel hero's name? I don't remember his name. I don't know why. Doctor Strange. I think of Doctor Strange when I think of protection from evil and good, but that's the only thing I could connect something like this to.
I don't know much about him.
He's just kind of like, he's like a protector of space and time.
I thought he was like a monk sorcerer, basically.
Kind of is, yeah.
Way of the time warp.
Way of the time. He's kind of like a time sorcerer, so that's the only thing I can kind of put my brain to. I don't know everything about him, but, seeing the little bit I have of him, that's the kind of idea I gather. The rest of the spells.
Yeah, but essentially speaking, this sorcerer already seems more like a support, essentially speaking. Like most sorcerers are usually greedy when it comes to their
spell choices, because they don't have much.
Not just their spell choices, because this is, it's a new thing, but mostly it probably ties in with how their class features work as well. Alright, so manifestations. Essentially speaking, I'm assuming this is how your meta magic reacts whenever you cast spells and such. Once again, one of those things, you can look at it yourselves. It's not very...
You can pause it right here and take a look to see the options.
Exactamundo.
Okay.
Restore balance, your first level Clockwork Soul feature. Your connection to the plane of absolute order allows you to equalize chaotic moments. When a creature you see within 60 feet of you is about to roll a d20 with advantage or disadvantage, you can use your reaction to prevent the roll from being affected by advantage or disadvantage. So you just make it equal. You just, like, instead of being advantage or disadvantage, you know what, bitch? You just get a straight roll.
That's definitely unique.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's unique.
You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency and regain all expended uses on a long rest.
Never mind, it's good. You know why? Because it's a first level Clockwork Sword feature, which means if you go first, only put one level in Sorcerer, you get it.
Oh
it's
boy.
It's really good. That's actually a bomb ability, now thinking it like that.
I can see people going 1 level Wizard, Divination, or Chronomancy.
Dude, it could be so wacky.
And then taking this thing, and then...
Dude, Divination was just like the best one. Or close to it. There's too many good options now that picking your best out of the Wizard classes is just
I think you
impossible.
take Wizard and you take away all the features and you just have a Wizard, you still have a good character.
It's kind of the same thing with Cleric, and it's kind of the same thing with Rogue. Some classes, unfortunately, are not in the same
with Cleric.
You wouldn't say the same thing with Cleric?
No, once you strip away all those features, it's kind of just...
No.
I whack things.
No.
And I'm holy.
I would say the same thing as Cleric. I disagree with you. I think it's just a strong base class in general, if you're looking at the base features. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Every other class feels like it needs a little oomph. That's why we got the subclasses.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just see easy Chronomancy or easy Divination, and just always fucking with the DM's rolls. That's just literally all that is.
Just go lucky afterwards, and then you know what?
With the DM's rolls. That's all you're doing.
I have all of these dice.
That's what makes it a bomb ability, because all you need to do is take one level in it.
Yep.
And
that's it.
Continue what you're doing. After that, you just get that crazy ass ability.
Yeah, imagine doing that to the BBAG. I mean, there's no roll for it. It just happens. As long as they're within 60 feet, it happens.
No, that is totally what that is.
Right?
There's no changing fate on that.
No, actually, there is changing fate, because that's what they do.
Talking about on our end.
That's what they're
Talking about the GMs.
It's okay. That's fine. You don't need to.
Continue.
Yeah, exactly. Bastion of Law, 6th level, Clockwork Soul feature. Can tap into a great equation of existence to imbue a creature with a shimmering shield of order. A shimmering shield. As an action, you can expend 1 to 5 sorcery points to create a magical ward around you, around yourself, and another creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The ward lasts until you finish a long rest or until you use this feature again. The ward is represented by a number of d8s equal to a number of the sorcery points spent to create it. When the warded creature takes damage, it can expend a number of those dice, roll them, and then reduce the number taken by the total roll on those dice. Wow, so a possibility of 5d8 reduction.
Yep.
Not including like already having it maybe on top of that. Okay.
This is probably one of the most bomb sorcerer subclasses already, man. This is really great.
The thing is that I don't know where they're going with this.
Me neither.
This doesn't feel like Clockwork at all. I feel like they should have called this something else.
Probably.
I don't feel like Clockwork would entail any of this.
No. Maybe the 14th.
Once again, like I was saying, this is a support class.
Yeah.
It's a support subclass of this.
I still kind of. It's really hard for Caleb to wrap his mind around what a Clockwork Soul sorcerer is, even with the description.
Yeah.
I'm sure players in the D&D universe and you find people out there can easily create an idea behind it that can make us be like, oh yeah, that's what Clockwork is.
Like if you called it just the Mordron Soul, then I would literally understand that more. Because it's more.
I don't know what this is, to be honest. Looking at this stuff, it feels like a fate sorcerer. It feels like more like controlling fates.
Yeah.
It feels like you control like life and death. That's what it feels like. You're controlling it's like the DM sorcerer subclass. It's what I feel like. Because it's like, okay, I'm the player, but I'm doing DM shit.
Yeah, it doesn't
really translate.
it's fine. Like it's fine in and of itself. I just feel like they could have
named it something different.
Yeah, if they were going for Mordrons, which literally, it's all about Mordrons, they should have put more emphasis
on the Mordrons.
Yeah, versus like saying this is a Clockwork thing, because these things right here floating on the human Clockwork Soul like art. Those are Modrons.
Oh, let me scroll down. Let me scroll to it.
Those are what Modrons look like.
Oh, they're kind of cool looking.
They're literally dice.
That's cute.
They literally took the set of dice that players have and just made them into creatures.
They could. I feel like they should have called this the Chaos Sorcerer or something like that. I don't know. There's so many better names I could think of for
It's because they didn't want to just break the fourth wall and call it the Dice Soul, because that's what it is. At this point, it's just the Dice Soul.
Yeah, it's literally like the DM being a character. You're playing the DM as a character.
Like players would hate if a DM made a character revolving around this shit.
Yep, this would be a really really good BBG if you made a sorcerer BBG. This would be fantastic. Creating something like this. Alright, let's go to the 14th feature.
Trance of Order. Once again, this is just Trance of Order.
Yeah, I think it'll, I don't know, continue.
Yeah, 14th level Clockwork Soul feature. You gain the ability to align your consciousness with the endless calculations of mechanics. As a bonus action, you can enter the avatar state for 1 minute. For the duration, attack rolls against you can't benefit from advantage, and whenever you make an attack roll, or an ability check, or a saving throw, you can treat it as a 9 or lower on the D20 as a 10.
Gave a rogue feature to it,
yeah.
pretty much.
Once you use this bonus action, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or unless you spend 5 sorcery points to use it again.
Yeah.
Once again, I feel like this is like a fine ability, even though, oh yeah, you're taking the ability from a rogue and just like literally sticking it onto this guy. That's fine.
I think it's great.
Yeah. It's a bonus action, number one. It lasts a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, advantage doesn't exist against you.
No, it doesn't. I just think as far as the features go, for a sorcerer, I think this is fantastic. But like you mentioned, I feel like it gets lost in translation as far as wrapping our minds around what it is still. Maybe we're not supposed to understand what it is. Maybe that's the whole idea.
Maybe.
But I'm lost.
But we also have to really look at the wording for restore balance. It just says when a creature you see within 60 feet of you rolls with advantage or disadvantage.
It's when you see a creature.
Exactly.
If you don't see it, you can't do shit about it.
Yeah. That's the part that I guess is more of a good balance for that part, but then this one is just
no.
Creatures can't benefit from advantage. That means even if they're invisible, they still can't benefit from advantage.
It's so stupid and broken.
Yeah.
Really don't. But some creatures don't need advantage.
True. They just need for you to make a death saving throw.
There are some creatures that you just look at the stat block and you're like, why do I get a plus 15 to hit? Why is this a thing? Why am I even rolling?
And also, this is broken. I just
broken.
realized how broken this is, because saving throw, a death saving throw is a saving throw.
Yeah.
That means if you enter this state and then go down, you automatically pass.
Oh shit.
You automatically pass, because it doesn't say when you're incapacitated.
It does not say that. That's stupid. Dude, this is a great idea for a BBG, dude.
You literally just pass death saving throws. You basically don't make them. You say DM, I've passed.
I already have an idea for how we can implement this in Skyreference now.
This.
Yeah, we're using this in Skyreference.
They did not think of the implications of this.
They didn't think about a lot of things in this. Yes, they balanced a lot of the stuff in here. They didn't think about like a lot of the different options, or they did think and just didn't care.
And they were just like, yeah, this is one of those balance. This is a balance. Yep. This is kind of basically like what, this trickster. This probably actually aligns very well with trickster.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about as far as that goes. I think
dude,
this is a really great option for Skyreference.
A whole minute of you just passing this.
A whole minute of you just the enemy. Let's look at this from a bad guy perspective. The enemy is throwing the PCs are throwing fireballs. They're throwing everything on the planet at you. Depending on your saving throw, they're not doing as much as they could.
So you already have, like, you pass all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you're passing all the time, and on top of that, you can use your shield to reduce damage even further, possibly giving you like that rogue thing where you just like, I don't take damage.
Dude, a BBEG of this status is a monster.
Yes.
And I think we know what we're doing for Skyreference.
This is
I have ideas.
nutso.
I have ideas.
This is nutso de facto.
Alright.
Clockwork Cavalcade?
Cavalcade.
Weird one. I don't know what cavalcade means, that's why.
Me neither.
18th level,
Look it up.
Mordron soul feature. You summon spirits of order to expunge disorder around you.
A cavalcade is a former procession of people walking, or horseback, or riding in vehicles.
So like a troop, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you summon a troop. Okay. As an action, you summon the spirits in a 30-foot cube originating from you.
Okay.
The spirits look like Mordrons or other construct of your choice. They should have just called it the Mordron. I don't like the word clockwork in this whole thing.
Me neither.
The spirits are intangible and invulnerable, and they create the following effects within the
first
cube
one in itself already.
before vanishing. The spirits restore up to 100 hit points.
That's why I'm saying this would be an insane BBEG, dude.
Divided as you choose among any number of creatures of your choice in the cube.
That is nuts, dude.
Any damaged object entirely in the cube is repaired instantly. Every spell of 6th level or lower ends on creatures and the objects of your choice in the cube.
It's very, very broken. Very, very broken. It's
And
nuts.
at this point, okay, you're 18th level, and if you want to use this shit again, just to pop it once more, I just say I'm using 7 sorcery points.
Yeah, and then just be done with it.
I'm popping it.
Fuck you.
Pop.
I think this is probably if not the most busted Sorcerer subclass. When we're looking at it from feature-wise. Like we've already mentioned before, our problems with the fanatic-wise, or the finesse-wise, or I'm trying to think of the word. The theme around it is a little bit iffy. But when we're looking at it from a feature perspective, this is nuts. Like the things that you can do, you're stopping people, you're stopping the DM from rolling so many different things. You're lowering the DM's damage that he's throwing at you, and not only that, you're making sure that you pass the death saving throws that are happening. If the DM happens to be like, all right, I'm done with your shit, I'm throwing you into the pit of fire. You're burning in the pit of fire, but you're still living because you are in a trance of order.
And the thing is that, what? Even while you're down, they don't gain advantage on you either.
Nope.
They still don't gain advantage.
You're just in a weird state. You're gonna be burning in fire, but you're not dying. And then lastly, you can summon things that literally are better than half of the healing in the game. That's nuts, dude.
The thing about this is that you can literally go around reconstructing an entire village that has been destroyed.
Yeah. This is
within the matter of like seconds.
This is some Giovanni shit, dude. Like we might want to think about potentially.
I mean, this is a level cap ability. This is.
I know. That fits the level cap.
Yeah.
If not even that. I think that's more than what that level capture gave. But then again, I think it's just fantastic. As an ability, regardless of it, I think that's a little bit too OP personally. But wow.
At least it's only just it's an instantaneous pop, and you have to use your action to do it. But then again, you can just, if you're a quicken sorcerer, you can do this and then pop a spell.
Yep.
And you can pop a spell, and it's like, I pop a spell as well. You just healed 100 hit points. What more do you want? I want to kill the guy who's killing my friends too, while I do this.
Especially with the luck our players have, like, oh my gosh. There's going to be a session where everybody has shit luck, and it's going to be the most rare session possible. Because, holy crap.
Because I say you have bad luck. Because I say you do.
Right?
Huh.
Give me 1 second.
No. No. Oh my god.
I just want to brush my beard real quick.
This is nutty. This is a nutty.
Stuff, just looking at it from a new perspective, I think this is just fantastic. There's a lot of cool sorcerer options here in the book. Clockwork Soul was nutty, and you'll probably see a lot something in the future from us regarding that. Aberrant Mind, I feel, is okay.
I feel like the one thing that can actually say no to this is a simple cantrip that allows players to not be able to benefit from healing. And you spam that, and that would be like the crux of this level cap ability.
Yeah.
Just say, you know that one spell that no one ever cares about? I use it.
Why the hell do you have that? For a moment,
Oh no, everyone of my troops actually have that equipped because we know what you can do. So
bullshit, you fucker. You don't know nothing.
yeah, they saw you use it.
We would normally go into character creation and stuff, but we decided that the ones that we've done, right?
Yeah.
But when we do Dragon Coffee on another date or later, we can go to these specific ones and then have specific episodes dedicated to that and flavoring characters out of them. This is just our look at Tasha's, and while we were doing that originally, we don't want to eat up too much time. So we are done with Sorcerer, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next.
Delicioso.